Alright, response video 2, Matt, and I'll try to keep this one under 10 minutes. I'll try to do that. He complained a little bit. Wasting time right there saying that. But, so yeah, I won't play the video, I'll just paraphrase it. But, this video didn't say too much. And it says evolutionary, philosophy, sort of. My point about evolution is that it has, if you take it seriously, what it says, okay, the components that are in it, not poetry. Poetry isn't in evolution. You can't make up components. And so I'm saying taking evolution for what it really says, which is you start with a cell. It replicates, not because it intends to, because chemistry creates a phenomenon, like a diamond. Diamonds form. Diamonds don't say, I want to be a diamond. They're made. It's forced upon them. And this cell, this first cell, replicated. And it created a copy of itself. And then the nature of that copy is that it's going to replicate itself. And then it's going to replicate itself. And this is the mechanism. And that's all the initiation you need. Because once you create this monster, so to speak, this virus, this thing that intends by its function, not by its intent, not by a construct of intelligence, but just by its form, it theoretically consumes the entire universe into its shape. So it's like a Borg or a body snatcher, or it's a matter snatcher, an energy snatcher, whatever you want to call it, because it's this function. It's part of the function. To replicate, it's got to consume enough parts to create the copy, and that's the game. And that's, in a sense, a closed idea. This is the function of evolution. This is the necessary parts, the minimum necessary parts. Now you have evolution. You create a mechanism that can copy itself. You give it an environment to feed on, a place where it can consume parts, and this is what it'll do. And you can it's quite predictable. Alright, so you're saying that you're being honest, you didn't say overtly, but that's your implication, to evolution by including this other, like, we feel it, therefore, it's like we write the book, therefore the book's worth reading, kind of thing. Because we're here and we feel and we do these things, therefore they must, they're self-justifying. And that's the same thing as just making the whole process self-justifying, like turning it into a god. It's somehow infallible, and it's quite fallible. It's biological. It's just matter. Matter's fallible. Matter's not intrinsically intelligent. The universe is intrinsically intelligent. It's kind of the opposite. It's full of the noise of ignorance, the noise of garbage, of noise, not coherent, not focused, not funneled, not precise, not articulate, not all the good words are all words of refinement and confinement, and that's not the function of the blueprint, of the basic mechanism. It's just crude forces run amok. It's a lawnmower set loose in a huge lawn, however you want to describe it. But anyway, that's to be honest to evolution, you have to first be honest to, okay, it's just replication for the sake of replication. And then it takes this form when it gets to these intelligent organisms. So now we have these reflexive organisms, complex reflexes. Reflex causes reflex, causes reflex, causes reflex. Our language is just an exchange of a reflexive reaction. And we can have common reflexes. I say the word TV, maybe you think of a 24-inch or 58-inch flat screen now. In my day, TV would have been, square black and white thing. But the idea that we can communicate a reflexive perception and a connection of images or ideas of something is going to be somewhat coherent. There's going to be a connection. In some cases it's going to be explicit, in some cases it won't be. Even if I say ruler or 12 inches, we'll think of different things, that might be 12 inches, maybe. Different things might come to mind at different times in our life, even, or different moments. We'll be disposed. Different images will be percolated or close to the surface, and that will dominate our perception at that moment of that word, 12 inches. What it means to you. 1 minute it means a ruler, the next minute it means, I got to be charming in some other way. Whatever. All right. I'm not gonna get this done in 10 minutes. Just ain't gonna happen. All right, I'm gonna try. All right. So when you combine these words, okay, like physics, biology, psychology, sociology, and these are all elements, but they're all controlled by different mechanisms, different kinds of evolution. So we do have to make a distinction between what the biology does and what the intelligence does, the knowledge. What the knowledge is different than the biology. And the biological mechanism is, again, one of these closed things. We can sort of describe it. I think accurately I've stated that our brain is of kind of two minds. One mind creates the problem, which is the emotions, the feelings, the sense of I need, I want, I desire, I'm afraid, I feel bad, I feel good, that kind of stuff. And the other brain creates solutions for this dilemma created by the organism that I need. The Cheeto now has value. The thing over there has value to me. Brain, figure out a way for me to get that. Let me get it before the other guy gets it. Or if I have to fight the other guy, give me the strategy to beat him in the fight. That kind of thing. So again, it's another closed system. The intelligence exists to facilitate the solving of a problem created internal. The problem isn't in the world. The problem is in us. We're the one with the need. We're the one with the ambition. We're the one thinking there's some place to go. And it's only a thought. It's a notion, not a truth, a notion, until we prove it to be a truth. And I guess what I'm arguing is you're saying, I'm going to take those notions, those feelings, those things created to make us think there's value out there worth having. And it's done to make us think so. That's the very mechanism of evolution. This is the survivable organism. It's like the bird trapped in the psychology where it goes out and collects the blue things so it can build a whole nest of blue things to impress the mate, to impress the girl. So he's showing her, look how successful I am. I'm so good at living. I not only can feed myself, I have plenty of time to go collect a bunch of blue shit to impress you. Right? So it's complete waste, but it serves the biological evolutionary function of demonstrating I'm a good gladiator, I can fight this war, I'm worth you investing your eggs in. And that's what's happening. And it's still happening with us in our psychology and in our sociology. The same sort of dynamics and mechanisms still exist. And they can only be described as what I've just stated, waste. It's a waste of time. These are projections of need and necessity. They are idiotic bigotries and prejudices of notions of value, the woman valuing. And that's all they are. And you're just saying because they exist, they're validated. This universe made it, it's therefore okay. And you're not defending that. And I think it needs to be defended. I think it's an extraordinary claim. You're claiming the intelligence. You're claiming the universe knows what it's doing. You're claiming the mechanism has regulators built into it. Mechanisms of balance. And it doesn't have any such thing. It always will reach a balance. The balance can be perfectly hideous, as I would argue it is, say, in the ocean. Life evolved in the ocean for 4 billion years. Did it do anything good in there? Take the land mammals that went into the ocean out of the picture, what do you have? You just have a bunch of animals crudely, just in the most crude sense, feeding and replicating, taking the parts, building the copies. Take the parts, build the copies. That's all. Just Xeroxing. And, doing it at a lot of sentient harm. So, yeah, that's not a success. That's called a failure. I don't want to get into the end game arguments of the futility of the whole game, but the game board has to be fairly described. And I guess that's what I'm saying. When you say the word evolution, you're describing a kind of game board. You say it's complex. I'm saying no, it's very crude and simple. It's a gladiator war. And whether we have swords or knives or switchblades or rocks, it doesn't really matter what our tools are. It doesn't matter all of that crap. The basic dynamic is understood. It is a war. It is a battle for the success of a DNA variety. And that's the mechanism of natural selection. And we know where we got our intelligence from. It was a tool to make us more survivable. And the fact that now we can use that intelligence to look at the game board and see us in the playing arena and evaluate what makes sense in this game we're playing. And I'm going to argue that you have to just lie about it to say that these delusions, that these little bits of blue paper have value. Is that a delusion? This delusion that you need what's over there. It's just that, a delusion. You don't need any of it. None of it's needed. The need is a problem created in our brain. It is not a problem that exists in the world. And there's only, all you can do is lose too much. You can't win anything. All you can do is reduce how much you lose. You can be a low loss. You can play the game at low loss for yourself. But that's the best you're ever going to do. You're not going to win. And the argument I would make is that the people who think they're winning are playing the game at low loss. If they're going to be honest, they can easily recognize how heavy the cost is for their existence, how much sentient life has to be squished and squeezed through the gauntlet of horror to maintain their presence. And none of this is free, and more importantly, the thing itself is just a mechanism of addiction. It's just a mechanism of contriving a purpose, a mission, an ambition, a need, an absence of something missing, steal from us a piece and put it away from us so we go chase it. And that's all we're caught up in. And so I'm just saying, to be honest to evolution, you have to be honest to the crudeness of the mechanism, and that there really isn't anything going on here. We're being manipulated to reproduce. That's the primary function of everything that's biological and alive. That's it. It's a mission statement. And it's meaningless as a mission statement unless we can find some cause or reason to think there's purpose in the need we create. You can't just say there is. You have to demonstrate it with some sort of argument, some sort of logic. And I'm saying, I don't think you've come close. Poetry doesn't say it. Cosmos, not chaos. That doesn't say anything. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for the response, though. And let's see what you do with the second half of the first video. And there. Hopefully that's been horrible. 14 minutes, yeah. Damn it. Sorry. Yeah, I'll have to, I don't know. I'll have to think of some other strategy. It's just, I don't want to have to use my 4 words again, but I probably could have saved you 14 minutes. I could have just said consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, addiction. What else? And how can you justify any of it? Because isn't any value in it just like the bird seeing value in the pieces of blue stuff, the wasted work? It sees the value, but the value is not real. The perception of value only exists because it demonstrated that this is a good male to mate with, not because there was any purpose in it. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's contrived. It's fake. The perception of beauty, the perception of desirable, the perception of I need the accomplishment, I need to satisfy the ego ambition, is all just projected. It's nothing real. And the only thing real is the suffering that's paid for it.